Well, welcome. I am thrilled with my special guest today, Mr. Kris Tonto Paronto. I love rolling those R's. I had Kris on my radio show earlier today, and we had a great interview. And for those of you who may not know, Kris is a former Ranger. Kris has just published a new book called 13 Hours, the inside account of what really happened in Benghazi. You want to know why, folks? He was there. This isn't some deputy White House correspondent talking, somebody who's never been off of the main line. No, he was there. And I got to tell you, I was just blown away with the interview that we had this morning. Thanks again for being here. You know, the interview we did this morning.
Fantastic.
Let's start with, because I know that this is what a lot of people did not know.
Yeah.
First, simple question. It had nothing to do with the video that caused that compound to be attacked.
No video had any role in that attack there, and it was a terrorist attack.
Yes.
Why the administration or whoever the powers that be wanted to spin that way, you know, I guess you need to get them on the show and ask them. But that video was no role in that attack there in Benghazi, Libya.
And you indicated that when you heard Susan Rice say that on TV, you were absolutely shocked.
I was disgusted.
Yeah.
I was angry, disgusted.
Yeah.
But also the shock, because nobody had debriefed us yet of what had happened that night.
Right.
And we were the only ones intimately involved in the entire fight from start to finish,
Right.
on the ground, eye to eye with the bad guys. And for someone to come on TV, you know, and this was when I was in Germany after the attack, when
Right.
we finally got lifted out of there, out of Tripoli. I was wondering why a leader could go out or put their subordinates
Right.
out there to especially the commander in chief, put out a narrative like that without, you know, you got to go and talk to the guys on the ground that fought
Exactly.
there, and it didn't happen. So I was, for lack of a better term, I was extremely pissed off.
Okay. Now, explain where you and the other people that you were with were relative distance-wise
Sure.
from the compound that got attacked.
The annex, the CIA annex that we were at, is only about 3/4 of a mile away as a crow flies, about a mile drive. So
Okay.
on a normal day, whenever we would travel to the consulate, it takes about 5 minutes.
5 minutes?
Maybe 5
Right.
minutes. It wasn't. It was just a hop, skip, and jump.
Right.
And you know, of course, that night, by the time we got there after stand down and all that, stand down, and then us having to fight our way on foot there, it took us about 45 minutes to eventually get on the compound, which, you know, by then, for those that have read the book, you know, it was too late. Ambassador Stevens and Sean Smith had already passed.
Right. You had that literally when you, let's go back to
Sure.
who issued the stand down order.
Sure.
How that came about.
You know, it came from, it came directly from our chief of base. Now, how the leadership works as far as agency goes, you have a base station, which is where the main headquarters is for
Right.
the agency, and that could be it's usually in the major hub of a country. And then we have bases on the outside, and each base has a chief, which is usually a higher level operations officer, former operation officer, an analyst. And so our stand down, and the word stand down, we're spoken. I don't know how many times I've said it so many times, even in front of the congressional committees.
Right.
They were given to John Tig Tigan 15 minutes after the attack started. So they were said. And then the delay as well. There was 2 waits given. And they get into, I don't get into semantics.
Right.
Stand down, wait, delay.
Same thing.
Same thing.
Yeah.
We weren't able to go, and we finally had to buck orders and leave about 25 minutes after the initial attack call.
Now, how many were in your group that finally went over to the compound?
Six
of
of
you?
us, and we did grab also one of our interpreters.
Right.
And you know, bless his heart, he didn't have to go. His job was not. There's combat interpreters, and then we call them just desk interpreters, and he was a desk one, which is great. He sits there, he goes through cables and
Right.
and things, but that was the one guy at the CIA station, aside from my team, that really showed some courage, because he didn't have to go, and he did.
Right.
He jumped in the car. He didn't have a weapon. I gave him my pistol. I said, "Hey, get in the vehicle. I said, we'll take care of you. I said, we need you, though, because we're going to be linking up with indigenous forces, and none of us speak good enough Arabic. And when you get in those situations, sometimes you get a friendly fire incident. And, you know, he says, yes, Mr. Tonto, I got it. When he got all this stuff and got in. And I'll tell you what, at the consulate, though, he was out of his element. But like I said, he showed tremendous courage. And I can't give his true name because he's still working.
Understand. But you did say that you all actually had to fight your way into the compound.
Yeah. We were very lucky that we had 40-millimeter grenades.
Okay.
Grenade launchers, and that basically threw those down at him. John Tigan did, and it really broke up.
Helped to disperse. Yeah.
And those things, when they hit, I mean, even if they aren't close, just the sound will intimidate enough that will make people scatter and take cover. And that allowed us to, that little lull to get on the compound and sort of solidify our defenses.
Right.
But then they did reattack us at midnight, and it came in a bigger force. And by that time, we had found Sean Smith's body. You know, the fires were still raging on the compound. We had collected all the Department of State people, and they were courageous as well. Don't get me wrong; those guys, they got caught flat-footed, but they did everything that I think they could to attempt to save the ambassadors' lives. And then the counterattack happened, and we fought it off. We killed a few of their guys fighting it off, but there was no other reason to stay there once we had collected all we could. It really still hurts me, sir, that we weren't able to find the ambassador. And, you know, as a ranger, you never leave a fallen comrade fall in the hands of the enemy, and it still bothers me.
And you said with the wait and the stand down, the time that passed by the time you got there was about 45 minutes.
45 minutes, yeah.
And if you had been able to go when you knew you needed to go, do you think that would have made a difference?
Yeah, definitely. And I've said that to the House Intel Subcommittee, too. I've never minced my words. I said it on the Brett Baer special.
Yeah.
I've said it to every reporter. And I've even offered to go on MSNBC and go on and say the same thing. And, of course, they won't have me on.
I wonder why.
I know. And I guess I just don't fit.
They can't handle the truth,
They can't handle the
Kris.
truth. Where's Jack Nicholson when you need him? I just don't fit that narrative.
No, you don't.
I just can't. I'm just a round. Was it square peg?
There you go.
Get into a round hole. But yes, it would have. We would have definitely saved their lives. And the argument to us is, well, would you have still been able to get in there and get the building? That's not the point. The argument against that, the argument I say, or I dispute that or discredit the argument that maybe we wouldn't be able to get all the way on the compound to save their lives or to get in the buildings.
Right.
Just us going there would have took the attention of Ansar al-Sharia and Al-Qaeda in the Maghreb, the two terrorist groups that were fighting against us there, and it would have allowed Scott Wickland and Alec Henderson and Dave Ubben and the other State Department agents the emphasis of the attack would have shifted to us. It would have allowed them to do more and to try to find the ambassador. And like I said, they were trying. They were doing what they could. They got surprised, and it happens. It's war. Sometimes we aren't. Sometimes the enemy outwits us. It sometimes happens.
And some people who've never been in this situation forget they are trying to kill you.
Yeah, I know.
You know?
That makes sense.
I mean, I saw this deputy White House press, whatever his title is,
I saw it.
said that the Taliban is not a terrorist group.
I saw that too. I think what is it? He looked like he was 17 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, did he just get out of college and he just?
What do you mean they're not a terrorist group?
Exactly.
They've been trying to kill our people.
They are the pinnacle of a terrorist group.
Wow.
The Taliban is just because they say their ideologies or the reason they do things, and I'm lack for a better term, is based off their ideologies of Islam. That does not make them what they call them
peaceful.
Peaceful. They call them a militia with guns or something like that. They are a terrorist group. Al Qaeda and the Taliban. I mean, those are the terrorist groups of. Those are the terrorist groups.
Wow.
I mean, and then you've got the Chechenian fighters, which those guys are tough.
Wow.
But Taliban, if the Taliban isn't a terrorist group, I don't know what is a terrorist group.
It's a terrorist group. You've been there. You've been shot at by them. You've had to fight them and stuff like that. So this went on for a couple of hours after you all got on the compound, and finally they dispersed and so forth. And what happened after that? How long were you all there before you all were
Oh, wow.
gotten out of there.
Yeah, that happened at midnight. We actually were attacked 3 more times at our annex at the end. So we
Really?
got in 3 more firefights. But and that due to the leadership of within our realm, I mean, the contractors and the administration and even people that dispute our accounts don't even try to vet our backgrounds. All of us were non-commissioned officers, or I was a commissioned officer. We had
Right.
all served in special operations forces. We all had been overseas for multiple years, some in double digits, even like myself. I'd been traveling and deploying overseas for close to 10 years prior to that.
Wow.
That we had solidified our positions. We were very good at what we did. So when they tried to attack our compound, it was very easy for us to defend them off because we had a set plan,
Yeah.
and we were ready for them.
Yeah.
And we had all the advantages. We have our night vision, we have our infrared lasers. The only thing we didn't have, which we could have used, was air support, which
Right.
I called for, or I asked our leadership to get us at 9:30, 9:33, 9:34. I said, get us a Spectre gunship or air support, or
Wouldn't
get
do
us an
it.
ISR. They said they were working on it, but now it comes back, after the fact. You've seen a lot of the news and a lot of the scuttlebutt from the State Department and the administration saying, well, that wasn't available, or, well, first it was we didn't ask for it. Then it wasn't available. Then it was on a training mission somewhere over, the Spectre was. Then it was, there was no orders given to spin guys up or stand them up. So their narrative continues to change.
Right.
Which means to me, it means it's probably not true.
Well, we've been following this story ever since
Yes, sir.
it came out. And the one thing that still puzzles a lot of people, as you know, the congressional investigation is still continuing,
going.
and I'm glad, because I tell my audience all the time, we're not going to forget.
Please.
And we're going to keep talking about it, and we hope that, and with Trey Gowdy, Representative Trey Gowdy, they're going to continue. They're trying to get at the truth, because many of us members of that committee feel that there's a cover-up going on here, and it's going to take them continuing to dig in order to be able to get the truth and stuff like that.
It's going to take a while.
It's going to take a while, and but we need to get to the truth.
Yep.
2 reasons. One, to know the truth, such that we know whether or not, just based upon the data and the facts, did those 4 people have to die?
Yeah. Or were they left there to
Or
die?
they were left there to die.
Which is what I feel. I even feel we were left there to die, and we managed to commandeer our own aircraft to get out of there. No, that shows failure in leadership.
Yes, it's a failure in leadership. And then the other thing, other reason we need to know the facts is so it can be prevented again down the road. We're in war all over the world, so something like this can happen again. So, how long were you a ranger?
I was actually a battalion for a little over 3 years. So I went along, and I told the ranger, I'm a cherry ranger. There's been rangers there longer than me, tougher than me.
Yeah.
And then I went to special forces after that for about 3 years, and then actually had a stomach injury. And actually, I wasn't planning on getting out of the military.
Right.
I was honorably discharged with medical. I do get disability. I get a little bit of a pension from the military, but I didn't know what I was going to do. And right about that time, and I think it's God's path really more than anything. Is I got a call a month after from a company called Blackwater. They were just starting, small company.
Heard of them. Yeah.
And I got and another call from a company called Triple Canopy. And said, hey, you want to go to Iraq and fight with us and go do some security stuff? And it's like, I didn't know how they got my number. It's like, what am I going? I said, well, what are you paying? And at that time, and even though contractors still get paid very well. Granted, it's all 1099. We have to do all of our own.
Right.
I was like, how much you paying? And I won't say over.
Understand.
But I was like, you're going to pay me that much to go fight in Iraq?
Yep.
And I don't have to get up in the morning at 6 a.m. I don't have to do PT every. In fact, it's like sign me up. And now my wife wasn't happy though, because we had our first kid was on the way, and I called her, and I remember the first thing I said. I didn't even tell her. I said, I call her Mama. That's my call sign. That's my call sign for her. I said, Mama, don't divorce me. I said, I'm going to go to Iraq.
She knew what was coming.
So it was, again, I think the Lord put me on that path because I was lost. I didn't know, because I was going to retire from the military. And then that's where it started, 2003, 2004, and I just contracted from there on out. And I I was lucky enough to do a lot of different contracts. Did the CIA stuff, did the State Department stuff. So that was never, I knew what what their protocols were over there, because I was in charge of Ambassador Zalmay Khalilzad's detail in Iraq.
Yeah.
People don't know that either. And the State Department obviously didn't know that, or they wouldn't have been spewing all
Right,
this stuff. Or
right.
Say, well, this guy probably knows what he's talking. And then anti-piracy work, fighting pirates off the coast of Somalia, and then training people in South and Central America. I've had a fun time. I didn't want to quit. Believe me, I'm missing it. I really am.
Well, that's what you were trained to do, and and you
yes,
obviously did it well. And
tried.
I'm optimistic that this congressional investigation is going to continue.
Yes, sir.
To find out the truth. Have you testified?
No,
already?
but Trey Gowdy has contacted our lawyer, and we will.
Got it. Good.
And we've requested, at least I have requested, unlike the House Intel subcommittees, which was closed door,
Right.
where they were able to misrepresent and misconstrue what we actually testified, I've asked that we do an open hearing.
Great.
So, there's no doubt of what we're saying, and it can't be turned around. And,
Good.
And then I can also, I think it's nice to confront a few of our detractors. Representative Adam Schiff is one of them that's called us liars on several occasions. And hopefully he'll show up this time. He wasn't at the House Intel subcommittee when we did our hearing. He didn't bother to show up.
He didn't bother to show up. He didn't want to hear the facts.
Yeah, but we're still liars to him. So, hey, it is what it is. You're in that realm a lot more than I. So you know how the politics go.
Oh, I know. Well, I got to tell you, I'm optimistic that, one, that the committee is going to continue to investigate it, and two, that they are contacting you and other members of your team
to
eventually come in and testify. And I think that's going to be an eye-opener for the general public.
I hope so.
Yeah, it's going to be an eye-opener for the general public. And it just confirms a lot of our suspicions and stuff like that. So congratulations on your book, 13 Hours.
Yes,
I can't wait to read the rest of it.
Oh.
Lisa, my assistant.
She's read it.
She got it and read it in a day.
How do you do? I can't even do that.
First of all, she loves to read. She loves this topic. And I'm going to throw her under the bus, but it's okay.
You're going to make me feel awkward again.
No, I'm not going to make you feel awkward. She came to work yesterday, and she started reading it on the night before. So, she had phones, and she was watching the streaming and all of that. She read the book that was her job, was to get through that book so she could help me better understand what was going on. And it's the inside account of what really happened in Benghazi. And I got to tell you, what you have shared with us is illuminating.
Thank you.
I'm not saying that it's good to know that it happened the way it did, when the possibility that it could have been prevented is heightened.
Definitely.
But I really do appreciate you sharing your version and forcefully saying this is what happened, and not afraid to not only put it in a book, but be willing to talk about it.
I continue to do so.
That's great, and I'm very proud of you, and thank you for your service.
It's an honor,
and by the way, I understand you're a native of Omaha,
Yeah,
Nebraska,
that's
where
why
I spent some time.
I knew who you were. I ate at Godfather's Pizza all the time growing up when I was in college.
That's great.
So believe me, when I saw your name in Herming, I'm going on Herming.
Same one.
And, that's the thing. I know you ran for president. You did very well. But I know you as the Godfather Pizza guy of Omaha. So that's great. And it's an honor. Again, it's an honor.
Well, we still consider Omaha another home for us because we still have a lot of friends there and stuff like that.
You're still well known there.
Well, thank you. And again, thank you for your service.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations on what you're now doing to help reveal the truth. And I got to tell you, there are a lot of people that are behind you.
Thank you. Appreciate
Thanks a lot, Kris.
God bless you, sir.
Kris Tonto, his nickname, Paronto. Love rolling those R's.
It's been the best interview I've done. I've had the most fun.
It won't be the last, my friend. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, sir.
Yep.
Thank you.